I'm AdamHarry with
JayArr,
and we're both from BoLS. Today we are finishing up part 3 of our series on Chaos Through the Ages.
Woo!
We are going to be looking at the current and modern edition of
these
Chaos.
guys.
These 3 books right here represent that. If you missed the first part, we covered Chaos's rise and their beginning with the Codex Chaos. If you missed the second part, that was when we talked about Chaos's middle teenage years.
And the height of their power.
Height of power right here with the 3.5 Codex. Boom. And today we are going to take a look at the modern 40K from 6th through 8th edition Warhammer 40K.
Well, I can't wait. Let's dive in.
Let's do it. So starting off,
we'll start off with 7th there.
this is actually the 6th edition Codex. This is the book that replaced the 4th edition book. Again, the 4th edition book was probably one of the longest running codexes that Chaos had. So it went from 4th edition all the way through 5th edition. They got a new book with the Chaos Space Marine hardback for 6th.
Now, when in the course of 6th edition did this book come out? Was it early or later in the run?
I think it was earlier in the run. It wasn't one of the first books out, but it was definitely up there. Chaos is similar to Space Marines in the sense that those books generally get updated pretty quick when a new edition comes out.
I mean, they're sort of the heart of the game, so you need them to make the machine work.
Right.
Were there big changes between 4th and 5th, and then 6th editions?
The 4th/5th edition book up to this point, yeah. Again, this book changed up a lot of the way. I mean, 5th. The change from 6th to 5th was really an introduction to flyers were a big deal, and allies also became a thing. The Super Friends list. This book also introduced some crazy new Chaos vehicles and war beasts.
Cool.
We get things like the Helldrakes and we get things like the Mauler Fiends and things like that.
I love those guys.
So yeah, just really cool stuff.
So this is sort of where the picture of what like Chaos today looks like.
Right. Again, this is the birth of modern Chaos.
Cool.
Which it still didn't have the flavor that folks wanted from 3.5. But we started to get glimpses of that. And again, this book was the first book that came out for Chaos in terms of what books were usable to build from. So again, we get stuff later on like the Butcher. What is that book called? The Red Butchers. It's like the Black Legion, the extra data slates that came out after the fact.
But you can see here sort of the master template.
Yeah. You can see here we get more, again, mentions of all the different Traitor Legions and things like that.
There was that picture of Horus and the Emperor having their
classic
fight.
art. Yep.
War without end.
Yep. We get to look at all this cool stuff.
Wow. So
they just kept going. Like, the Red Corsairs, the Crimson Slaughter book, that was a big one that came out in addition to this. But we're not going to focus on those. We're just going to focus on the Chaos Codex, the Chaos Space Marine.
So, but it looks like they're doing a lot of work with this, which I guess makes sense if they haven't had a new edition since
a new book since
4th or 5th edition. Yeah, 4th/5th edition. Like, it makes sense that you want to get a lot of lore out there.
Yeah.
I noticed that they're revisiting some of the same big events. Did they add stuff to the events, or is it just sort of like a, hey, here's the Black Crusades if you're a new player, here's what they're all about, or do they like go back in and retexturize them?
Both.
Okay.
You got to remember when these books come out that they're not just making them for veteran players. They've got to make them accessible to new players. So this is when we see the timeline type things come out.
Yeah.
And it kind of helps draw a line from point A to point B for the beginning of Chaos to the Horus Heresy through the Long War to the current iteration of what's going on, because they need this to be accessible for new players. Now, they do take some of those older lore elements and fold them into the codexes, but they also update and change and retcon and tweak things and so that it makes sense for that current edition. Here's the Chaos Boon table. Yeah. Warlord traits were also introduced as well. That was a big thing.
So what is it? Chaos Boon.
Basically, when you killed stuff as a champion of Chaos, whenever you killed stuff, you get to roll on the boon. Like if you killed it on the character or something like that.
And that's in 8th edition. That's a stratagem.
Right. that was just a thing you did in 6th and 7th.
Oh man, that must have been complicated.
To keep track, I mean, it's funny because you had like the Chaos Boon if you rolled crappily. You didn't have anything. Where's the warp spawn one though?
Spawn hood.
Yeah, there you go.
22. If you rolled terribly.
Yeah, if you rolled a 2 and then another 1 or 2, you became a spawn. You could also become a demon prince though if you rolled really high. So that was down there. So not too bad. Again, we see more of the Chaos marks. Then we get the new format of
they've got a new look to them too. I noticed like before the Mark of Nurgle looked more like, I don't know, just a little more abstract. This definitely feels more representative of what Nurgle is, as like a pustulant, corrupting force.
Absolutely. You can still see the marks of chaos. The basic geometric shapes come through.
Yeah.
So that was the big deal.
Pretty sure Slaaneish's mark is just Prince's symbol.
You don't know. Maybe they're one and the same. Chaos Lords, from here, you have this same kind of layout where you've got a little bit of the rules and then a lot of the lore about those units, and you get to see each one of those units. This is, again, where we saw the introduction of the Warp Smiths, which were basically evil tech marines.
Okay.
You got Dark Apostles, which are basically evil chaplains.
We've got Chaos Space Marines, which are evil
basically
Space Marines. We had them before.
Yeah, Chaos Cultists also came back to possess.
Came back.
Yep,
I noticed that they're not around in 8th edition.
Chaos Possess?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting... We'll get to that, because we're going to look at those next. But
okay.
Obliterators, Mutilators. Then we have the Cult Troops.
All the classic Chaos Legions.
Yep, represented there. Moving on here.
Was there ever...
Warp Talons and Raptors, yeah.
Was there ever something that was, like, iconic to Chaos Undivided?
No.
Okay.
I mean, other than just... You had the generic Renegades, Marines.
Right, but...
I mean, other Marines had that, too.
Yeah.
It wasn't like... Taking a mark always seemed better, in my mind, than just being Undivided.
Yeah.
Undivided had some perks, but there was never, like... The closest thing they had to like a real character was Harrion Blackheart, as an undivided character. But
again, it seems like, especially, and I guess maybe that harkens back to that 3.5 Codex where they were kind of defined by what demon, what chaos god you followed.
Right.
It seems like it's better to lean heavily into one or the other of the four.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of why even today we see that echoed with the popularity of certain chaos gods versus other chaos gods, like
because Tzeentch is sort of on the decline.
Well, no, I would say I would say that again we'll get to modern 40k with 8th edition, but in this era, in the 6th and 7th edition era, Khorne and Nurgle were hugely popular because of their play styles and the rules bonuses. Tzeentch, again, this is when you're rolling, warp charge values and things like that. The change to the psychic phase happened, and all that fun stuff went into the game too. We also have an introduction of these crazy new vehicles that you could mark chaos and make them do stuff too. It was just that's why we don't see Slaanesh represented.
Slaanesh.
Slaanesh is definitely has been on a backslide for a long time, whereas the popularity of Khorne and Nurgle just seems to ever increase. And Tzeentch now with the new kits in modern 40k has come up quite a bit, I think.
Yeah, those discs of Tzeentch sound cool.
Yeah.
But I'll wait till we get to the 8th edition Codex to ask you more about those.
Helldrakes.
So these are the new guys that get added in this edition, right? There's
if you remember the 4th and 5th edition Codex had Defilers introduced. 3rd edition, those when the Defilers came out.
But this guy gets the
now
Mauler
we get
Fiend,
Forge Fiends, Mauler Fiends, the Helldrake. This is the era of the Helldrake.
Right.
This is the era of Nurgle Marines, Nurgle Cultists, and Hell Turkeys flying around. Just Nurgle Bikers being a thing that were like brutal to fight against.
Nurgle Bikers?
Yeah, Toughness 6 Bikers running around.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
And Helldrakes especially, because I know, having talked with you about like what 6th and 7th were like, I know you play Tyranids a lot, and you said that Flyrants were a big thing.
Yeah.
Were Helldrakes similarly like...
Equally a big deal.
Yeah.
They had a flamer. This is, again, the template era. So they had a flamer that could fire basically 360, was strength 6, AP 3, so you're killing Space Marines with it.
Sure.
It was just a really powerful unit at the time. until they nerfed it and tweaked stuff in the later editions. But for 6th and 7th edition,
the Helldrake reigned supreme.
Well, up until 7th, really, but early 6th edition, this was a good book. It wasn't the best, but it was quite powerful. Again, we look at all of the heroes. This is also the introduction of the Hellbrute, which is another really cool model, which doesn't seem that long ago anymore, but it really... Abaddon
may not have a new model,
nope.
but he still has some new artwork.
He got some new artwork.
Like, that looks... Yeah.
Hero and Blackheart's still around. Karn the Betrayer still around.
Armin, Typhus,
all
the characters that were kind of introduced back in the first couple of Chaos Codexes.
Absolutely.
Seem refined.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about like some of the like war gear that you could give to your characters.
Oh man, yeah.
Because I'm looking at this list and it seems way more complicated than the 8th edition stuff that I'm used to.
Yeah.
Was that like a big thing? Was it important to be able to
customizing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big deal to have those options and to tweak yours. That was kind of a call out to the 3.5 Codex. A lot of the options you'll see in here, a lot of the reasoning behind a lot of the options was to give Chaos back some of that customization, some of that flavor they used to have. So if you look here too, was skipping ahead, they actually did get new Chaos psychic powers with different warp charges, and again how Chaos worked back in this edition. Where you had your psychic levels were equal to your number of warp dice you're trying to cast spells with, and denying was different, and you could really load up on the warp charge dice with Chaos and do some pretty mean psychic powers and stuff like that.
Cool.
There's that infamous Hell Turkey right there.
Yep.
It was a really pretty Alpha Legion army that they
that is a really pretty.
Again, this is when a new era of models came out. But still have a lot of the old throwback models too. So we do get some new models in that book, which was great.
New cultists.
New cultists, finally, yeah. New Warp Talons and Raptors too.
Wow, yeah, these guys look really cool. I love the way the Helldrake looks.
Yeah, that paint job's really helping that model.
It really is.
We did not get new Khorne Berserkers or Rubric Marines, or Noise Marines, or Plague Marines in this era.
Do you think we ever will?
Yeah, eventually. We got new Rubrics.
We got new Plague Marines.
Yeah, we did get new... we got new Plague Marines, we got new Rubric Marines. So maybe we'll see some more Emperor's Children, Noise Marines, and Berserkers one day. But then we have all these cool new kits. Honestly, like, if you look at the Defiler kit compared to the Mauler Fiend or the Forge Fiend kit, or even the Helldrake kit, you can see that they took the design elements of that kind of the bronze kind of strip along the armor here, and just went to town.
Yeah, they sure did. Segmented plate armor and vaguely, like, I can't tell which of that thing is a demon and which is a machine. Like, what's organic, what's not.
Yeah, and I think that's the route that we're going. You can tell, like, this is definitely the grandfather or the forefather to these guys.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah. Yeah, this is, again, HP points. We don't get into all this stuff because it's still relatively fresh. So that was the 6th and 7th edition book. And then we had the big shift into 8th edition 40K, which is where we get the Index Chaos. So if you remember when we looked at the change from 2nd edition to 3.1, they released that book, the 3.1 Codex, this one, and it was, again, relatively thin, but this was designed to pop out and then get you playing your Chaos Army from 2nd edition, because all the rules changed.
Right.
So Games Workshop knew going in, hey, we're coming out with 8th edition, we need to have the rules come out, we need to have them playable from day one, which was a monumental task. They did it.
They had the indexes that did it, and they're very much like the initial Chaos Space Marines. So you could even say this is like 8.1 Chaos Marines.
Exactly. This is the edition we're all playing with right now in modern 40K.
Yeah, this is the one I know the most about.
Yeah, and you can see this was a no-nonsense, no lore, very stripped-down Chaos book.
All right.
I mean, there's a little bit of lore, but in terms of, like...
It's 40K.
Yeah.
You could never get away from it. But it jumps right into, hey, here's you know, all your friends that you've known forever.
Yep. Cypher the Fallen, Abaddon back there, Castle. And if you see, again, the stat line is similar, but it's different now.
Right.
The mechanics changed. Basically, from the era of 3.1 up until 6th edition, 7th edition, up until this book, they basically use the exact same rule set. There were changes, yes. There were tweaks, there was FAQs, there were things, rules changed, yes. 7th edition, but basically from 3.1, from 3rd edition till 7th edition,
same core underlying structure.
Yeah. This book had to come out quick, and because it changed the core underlying structure.
Yeah, armor works a lot differently now.
Yep. We're back to modifiers.
Wounds work a lot differently now. Hey, we
found
found an objective that I'm sure someone's been looking for.
Yeah, but you can see here the stats. Again, the format has changed as well. The introduction of power level to make army building a lot faster and a little bit looser. But you get the idea here. This is, again, the modern index.
Yeah,
so
you guys
Plague
know
Marines,
what's up.
You guys know what's in here.
Basically, they sort of take every model, they introduce the different factions, and kind of say, hey, here are the rules to kind of get you through to where you go, so that we can kind of get them out for real when we come to this book.
Yeah, and again, one other thing I want to mention. This is Index Chaos, so this also included not just Chaos Space Marines, it included Chaos Demons and the Traitor Knights. So this index was designed for all the Forces of Chaos to use from day one for 8th edition. Now we get to Chaos 8th edition. This book just focuses on Chaos.
Yep, on everyone's favorite Chaos Space Marines.
Yeah. This is the modern edition of this book. We're not going to go page by page on this one.
Yeah, we have a video where we do kind of like that you can find. But I think we do want to talk about some of the big changes, not just like between this and the previous editions, but even between like the index and the codex, because one of the things that GW's been showing off really well is like, hey, as we come out with codexes, like the armies feel complete now. It's where they get like their flavor. It's where they get the stuff that makes them work. You talked about in 3.5 how having like the different kinds of like chaos gods that you could follow and customization you could do made a big difference. I'd say that like knowing what kind of stratagems you can use and
I mean, this is what they introduced, right? This is the warlord traits, the stratagems, the new psychic powers, the new ways to play the army. But you saw earlier, we still get the throwbacks. We get the Horus Heresy. We get the Long War information. We get the
timeline.
New timeline stuff updated. All that stuff. We get call-outs for each of the legions as well. On top of that, one of the great things about 8th edition, and this book in particular, is it gives all those legions their own rules again.
Yeah.
Which was a big deal.
A huge deal. A huge deal. We don't get to it for a while, but like, it makes each army, it makes each army function different. So like you build an Alpha Legion army differently than you would build
like a Night Lords.
A Night Lords.
I was gonna say you could build the exact same units in an army, but play them very differently based on the Legion, which is, I think, what a lot of people wanted. I feel like that's what Chaos players wanted was, hey, I want to run my Iron Warriors like Iron Warriors and not like Khorne Berserkers.
Right.
So I think that was a big change in 8th, and I think they did a pretty good job.
One of the other things that I think 8th does really well, and especially the Chaos Codex, is it's the first one, because like I guess the first codex out was the Codex Space Marines.
Sure, yeah.
And that was very effective. It kind of redefined what Space Marines are.
Yeah.
But I feel like that changed more of like the Space Marines from the units up, you know, like.
Yeah.
But Chaos...
It was more of a bottom-up approach. This was more of a top-down.
Yeah, Chaos, it feels like they added a lot more of, like, finesse, almost. Different moving parts that you see fit together in different ways. So, the Codex Chaos Marines book is the first book where you really get to see some of the, like, crazy combo plays and other like, I'm going to spend some command points to do like
Yeah.
to help these guys wound a little bit better, but then I'm also going to make sure I can get my other psychers able to manifest what they need. Like you get stratagems that interact with each other in more complicated ways than in the Space Marines Codex and many of the other codexes.
And again, just comparing this to previous editions, yeah, Chaos had combos, but not like that.
Yeah.
Not like where the player could actually make choices in terms of spending a resource to get a benefit. You in previous editions, again, just the way the game works fundamentally changed with 8th edition, which is why we have the indexes that came out. That's why we needed the books like this first, and then we got the codexes that fully expand on all the different stratagems, all the warlord traits, all the psychic powers, all the units that you need to run that army, all the current lore, and actually pushing the lore forward past the end of 7th edition's lore, which is a big deal, because that lore actually did progress the story. This is 8th edition Codex feels like a foundation to build the next next, I don't know how many years, maybe the next 30 years of Chaos lore moving forward.
No,
with the game.
It definitely has like big foundational changes to it.
It's good stuff.
Horrors.
Yeah. And again, we back to the units here. We do see a sprinkling of some of the Chaos Demon units, even though Chaos Demons are going to get a book soon.
Should be
interesting. We don't know when you're watching this video.
When we were filming this, we knew that they were coming out sometime in January, but didn't know much else about them yet.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future we'll have been proven wrong. Quick, make a random secret bonus prediction that we can come back and check.
I predict that Chaos Demons will have invulnerable saves.
Okay, I predict that at least one Khorne demon is going to get the ability to advance and charge in the same turn.
Oh, it needs it. So anyway, special rules. We're not going to get into all the stuff with the units and stuff, but you get the idea.
Yeah, this is all of the stuff that
defines
them.
Modern 40K. So, but this has been an interesting journey for Chaos through the ages. Again, starting with just the very first codex, which is JayArr's grabbing this one right here. Codex 2nd edition. Again, we have a video on that. You can go check out the beginnings of Chaos. Then we had the middling era of Chaos, starting with the 3.1 decks, the 3.5, probably the pinnacle of Chaos Marines. And then we have the 4th edition through 5th edition codexes. And then today, again, we looked at the modern 40K with the 6th and 7th edition codexes all the way up to the index, and then finally the Chaos Space Marines 8th edition codex. I hope you've enjoyed this trip through Chaos Through the Ages. I'm AdamHarry.
And I'm JayArr.
We're both from BoLS Souls.
Thanks for watching.